This is going to be a test run of a new design I have called the Messenger, named of course after the game. So this isn't it. This is a Titan rocket with a classified payload. You'll see it in a second. Basically what it is a fuel tank for the main stage. So this is just going to be a regular Titan 1 launch, but this mission is going to be actually 3 launches. And it's a test mission because this craft, I'm actually going to, the real mission is to Lathe. But today we're just going to go to Duna and test it out because it's the only planet with an atmosphere that this rocket that I launch is going to be capable of getting out of. So let's do this one first. Bang! We're underway. And it's a Titan launch, so I mean, Titan launches are pretty standard at this point. Whoops. Don't want to go that way. Want to go that way. Standard fare. Standard fare. You've seen one Titan launch. You've seen them all. But if you're new to Kerbal Space Program, ideally, I'm going to be running a pretty aggressive launch profile here. But you see on the nav ball where the number is, about 2 notches below where I'm at right now? You want to be at that number at roughly 10,000. But like I said, I'm running a really, really aggressive launch profile because this is the Titan rocket. And you can do that. And the Titan rocket likes to wobble and turn and do its own thing. So this is actually the profile I've used. There we go. Booster set. No problem. Boosters come right off. And as you know, the boosters were feeding the main engine the entire time with fuel, so the main engine was running off of the booster fuel. So when I separate my boosters, my main engine is full. It's like an onion style. It's one of the most efficient ways of getting into orbit. Launch profile's looking nominal so far. Gonna see some fire. That's normal. There's gonna be a lot more. There's gonna be a lot more. Because I hit max Q fairly late. Go to about 20, a little under 20 degrees. It's a good ascent profile. See, I'm not gaining altitude that fast, but I'm actually gaining horizontal momentum just as much as I'm gaining the upward, just as much as I'm gaining altitude. So it's like I'm doing my orbital burn and my launch at the same time when I run this aggressive. But when you run this aggressive, you get a lot of this. And that's air resistance, and air resistance means it requires more fuel to go faster. That's why a lot of people don't do it that way. But wow, I'm going to actually burn all the way through my first stage. Probably shouldn't have blown my fairing, but that's okay. I'm going to have this peak out at about 90. Actually, no, about 85. Yeah, it's good. It's about 85. 85 is good. And then I'm going to do my orbital burn. But I want to keep this around 85. And I got 2 minutes. Uh-oh. Do I not have enough fuel? Well, that's bizarre. I don't have enough fuel. Okay. Well, we'll go back to launch. I'm going to have to use a less aggressive profile. That's bizarre that the Titan doesn't have enough power to deliver. Huh. Interesting. It worked in testing. Looks like I found the limit of the Titan rocket. That's interesting. So that just means I'll have to have a lower parking orbit, probably 75 or 80. That's all right. I'm going to recover this vessel because I'm going to launch the Messenger first so that I can tweak that one. I'll just take a section of fuel tank off of it and it'll be fine. I'll take a section of fuel tank off the payload. But we'll launch the Messenger. I have a lot of ships, as you can see. The Messenger. Whoops. Oh, God damn it. I didn't want 2 pilots. Actually, I can get away with it. I can get away with it. Because the other one's computer controlled. And good, that has the it has the docking ports where I want them, so that's good. Okay. So I'm really going to do a launch this time. First thing going up is going to be Meta. Meta's the toughest one to get to launch. Meta's kind of a pain. Because I didn't design it to go anywhere. I just designed it to get into orbit. And it just barely has enough power to get into orbit. And I did that on purpose. And we'll bring the scientist. Who are we bringing? Crizzy, and I'll test it out. A scientist flies in the lander, because this is actually going to be the lander. Now this rocket is a design that should, in theory, land me on Lathe and get me back into orbit. And then he has to do the James Watney maneuver, or the Watney maneuver from The Martian. I think his first name was James. I don't remember. But got to do the old Watney maneuver. And that will get him in orbit. But this is a big rocket. This is going to be fun. And the reason why I put the scientist in here is because inside this fairing there's actually a probe core that will deorbit the second stage. So I'm not leaving crap in orbit. But we're off. Like I said, this don't have a whole lot in the way of power, but it gets you into orbit. And you got to be real easy with the turning. So I'm going to actually run a pretty conservative profile for this line. If you do, this is a very ornery craft. It doesn't like to do what you want it to do. You kind of have to make it. But watch my speed when I set my boosters. It's straining. The boosters are separated. Falling back towards land. I am gaining speed, just not very fast. Because all it has is a mainsail and 4 vectors on the bottom. And it likes to tip upwards. I'm not sure why. That right there is as far as I dare go. But it is going to take most of the first stage. Oh, all of the first stage and a chunk of the second stage to get me into orbit. I am actually gaining on my Apple apps, so that's good. Once I get to the thinner atmosphere, I should be fine. Because it's getting pretty thin now. First stage is about half empty. Whoops. No. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's try that again, shall we? I am going to do one of these Kerbal thing in hard mode where like no reverts, no nothing. If he dies, he dies. That sort of deal. But we're going to get this mission off the ground. I'm just I haven't fully tested this thing yet, so this is actually my first mission test of this craft. I've done like dry runs where I launched it into orbit. I've done dry runs where I sent the lander up, landed it on Kerbin, and then relaunched it and got it into orbit. So the orbiter has enough power. Yeah. Yep. Friggin' A. Boom. Let's try this again. Alright, I got it this time. Launch profile looks nominal. And we have good booster set. We're now gaining speed. Looking good, looking good. Ten kilometers. We look nominal, but as you can see, whenever those fires move, that's me trying to keep the rocket steady. It wants to pitch upwards, but I'm not letting it. Alright, I'm looking good for altitude right now. Everything looks nominal. We are go. Rocket's tilted about 42 degrees, 43. Heading at about 89 degrees. It's about where I want to be heading. Ideally 90, but 89 can work. About a quarter of fuel left. We're starting to get Mach effects. Mach effects are good. Pitch down to about 35 degrees. As I am gaining on Apple apps right now. Craft's starting to roll around on me. Mach effect should start going away here because we're in the thin air. Almost past the Kármán line at Apple apps. That's good. Mach effects are gone. Hundred thou is a good altitude. Get circular, main engine cut off is good. We are 2 minutes and 32 seconds away from the maneuver. We'll try to point this thing right. It'll turn better in space. It just doesn't like the turn right now. See, it's not at all turning, so we'll do this. I'm just giving the engine little puffs so that it can turn. Got a minute and 10 seconds. And plane and ship is in position. We are in position, and fairing's going to be ditched in a minute, and you'll be able to see Meta in all of her glory. That's what this land is called, Meta. But it's going to change its name to the Message when it connects to the Messenger. Which is named after the PS4 game. If you don't have it, you should get it. The game is awesome. It's really good. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Oh no! Well, that happened. What a dumb move that was. I could have theoretically re-entered that craft and saved the pilot. But, whoopsie. So let's try this again. I'm going to pause the stream, and then I'll come back. So we'll pause the stream.